What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of a Dream Firm Leader interview. My name is Tyler S. Clark, but we are not here to talk about me. We are here to talk about someone very special. So introducing to you the first ever person to win our coveted Dream Firm Award, adding six figures, $100,000 in new business to her accounting firm while holding a full-time job. Crazy. One of the most dynamic social media marketers in the game with over 4,000 niche followers on Instagram, known as the Beauty CPA by her dream clients, a proud mother and an absolute rock star. Please pinch me, because we must be dreaming that we have the opportunity to hear the glamorous, unfiltered truth from the Dream Firm leader of Coleman Tax, Kenesha Coleman. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kenesha. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. That was such a good intro. I wish I could have you follow me around and say that everywhere I go. But I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, I'd love a job as a professional hype man. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. Let's go on tour. Why not? But listen, I really appreciate you taking the time to be able to do this. You've got such a fascinating story that I think speaks to a lot of people who are in that full-time gig, that are looking to make that transition. But what I'd really like to do is, before we get into the nitty-gritty details of how you accomplish such a massive amount of growth while holding down a full-time job, I'd like to just go to the beginning, really, and tell me just kind of how you got started in accounting at large, and then also bring us up to when you really said, you know what, I'm going to start this entrepreneurial endeavor.
Absolutely. So most of my years I spent at the IRS as a revenue agent. And that's where I really, really fell in love with tax, because working for the IRS, their training is awesome. It is like world class for someone just getting out of grad school. It was really a safe place to learn at my own pace and really get thrown in to get some real life experience, right? I'm like 22 sitting across from major CFOs of Fortune 500 companies. So I had to learn quick. The experience was great. But I did want to be on the helping side, right? No one wants to see the IRS coming. People hate the IRS. So I left the service. I got my CPA license before leaving. But as soon as I got licensed, I left and went to a firm. And then I went to work in a corporate tax department. And I liked all of those experiences too. But what I really wanted was to be able to practice tax my own way, right? And no matter how much leeway they give you in those positions, at the end of the day, you still got to follow their systems, their procedures, and do what they want, right? You can't really just do what you want. So while working at my corporate job in Illinois, I was just toying around with it, right? I started freelancing on Upwork. I'm not even ashamed to say that, but Upwork was the first place I went to freelance, because I just wanted to get a feel for it. Like, would I like writing proposals and having people interview me and ask me, why should I choose you? Mind you, the tax return was like $50 I was charging. So, but I got a feel for it and I really liked it. Like, the folks were like, most people were very grateful just for the conversation about tax. And so I was like, I think I want to do this. I went to the AICPA's Leadership Academy. I'm a graduate of that program. And a part of that week program, they give you like this, it's kind of like therapy, kind of like mindset work. And that really gave me like the push to like, just go ahead and do it. Wasn't ready to leave my job yet, so I did both.
Well, listen, that's a fantastic origin story. And I don't even think I knew you started your career with the IRS. That's very interesting, and something that I feel we may need to loop into your story in some way, shape, or form moving forward. But long story short, we saw the other side of the table, right? Being that enforcer. And then we went and we had a little bit more of that corporate career path, very standard, where we're experiencing the ins and outs, but also the tight structure that these companies are run by. And I think we're starting to maybe have a richer appreciation for why they have those tight structures as we grow our own businesses. And then we say, okay, I'm going to start to dip my toes a little bit in this freelancing world, and understood that, hey, probably undercharging a little bit, but just want to see what it feels like, start to get a couple of clients in the door. And just to be clear, no shame in this for anyone. We just had someone last week who literally followed the same exact path, Yulia. She's like, I started on Upwork, it was great. And then we start to transition away from that. But before we even get into the growth you've experienced, I want to talk more about the services that you provide, and really the type of clients that you find yourself working with. As you know, and as anyone here who's ever listened to really anything that I say, is your dream firm is built by your dream clients. And when you came to us, you already had a really well established presence, a really strong niche already, which I love. So just tell us about that journey to really discover that, from when you started to kind of experiment a little bit with Upwork to really becoming what is now known as the beauty CPA.
Absolutely. So from Upwork, as you can imagine, I worked with like anybody with $1. Like if you had USD, I'll take you. I really didn't care what like niche you were in. Honestly, I think I've told you this before, like I was like a silent lurker of you for years before I actually got into the program. But I learned to niche actually through you, through listening to you. And I was like, okay, so what would I want to do? Is so many options. And I thought to myself, like really, like, what do I spend a lot of my time and money on outside of work? And for me, that definitely was beauty. It was hair, it was skincare, it was nails, it was makeup, it was like all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna give that a shot. And I thought, even just from an inkling, I thought about the beautypreneur, because I have some girlfriends and some family members who's in that industry. I thought to myself, okay, these people are always on their feet. They're always on the go. They probably don't spend a lot of time at a desk. So I bet there's a need for them to just hand over their stuff and have someone else do it for them, because they're just on the go and working with their hands. They're creatives as well. And I hope this doesn't sound stereotypical, but most creatives aren't really numbers people. So I bet there's a void there, right? And so I started to ask around for people that I knew, and they were like, CPA? No, I don't have a CPA. I don't do bookkeeping. What's bookkeeping, right? I kept hearing, I'm not a numbers person. I kept hearing that. I kept hearing, oh, I just look at my bank account, and if I see cash there, we're good. And I kept hearing that over there, and that kind of solidified my decision to choose beauty as an area to focus on. It really did. The more I got into it, I mean, like, as you know, mind you, I made this choice at the beginning of 2020. Little did I know, 2-3 months later, COVID would totally shut that industry down because they couldn't open their doors to see clients. But I didn't get discouraged from that. What I did was, that was like the first year I started my Instagram, and I just started talking to them. And boy, when they found me, they were just like pouring into me. And that just solidified it even more, that it was a good decision.
Wow. I feel like we could take the next 3 days to unpack how awesome that journey was. So first of all, lurkers can still be learners. And whether or not you've commented, liked anything of mine in the past, take the path that Kenesha has, which is, I don't really care about the social proof, credit, whatever. I really don't. I care about the impact by saying, hey, I can see that there's something here, and let me see how I can apply this, right? You never pay me $1. I really don't care. You say, okay, niches are clearly important. Kenesha saw that, and she said, well, let me do some self-reflection, some introspection. What do I find myself enjoying? I really love the beauty space. Awesome. And then again, even beyond that, we got really into the psychology of that entrepreneur, on their feet a lot, using their hands a lot, very creative. So maybe not so good on the analytical side. Nothing wrong with being just clear about kind of what the strengths and some of the weaknesses are of a particular entrepreneurial archetype. And then one thing that's so much better, right? Like the best thing that I heard by far so far is that when things got hard for my space, I was still there for them. And this to me is the epitome of why people are so hesitant with niches at large. Is they go, but I'm making the pie smaller. I'm increasing my risk. What happens when there's a global pandemic that nobody could have predicted that completely shuts down all of my clients' operations? What am I supposed to do? Help them, right? Like love them, want to be with them, talk to them, build the social channels out. And that is where I know that people are super interested in your social journey because it's awesome to see. If you're not already following her, please go check her out. We'll drop the Instagram handles down in the comment section down below to make it easy for everyone, just so you can pick up what she's got going on and start to imitate it. But let's go a little bit beyond that, right? We've got the niche selection now. We get COVID really comes in, hits them. You're leaning hard into your channel. What did you learn from that experience in particular? What was maybe some of the insights, the tactics, the frequency that you found when you're starting to really grow this following and understand that people are really listening to you and paying attention to you?
Yeah. So when I remember the first time, like I started the page and I was going live, like really, my goal was not sales. It wasn't even really marketing, right? I wanted them to get to know me and I really wanted to get to know them. And I really wanted to get to know deeper what their pain points were and why they were choosing to make certain choices when it came to tax and accounting, right? So like surface level, it's boring, it's tedious, but a little deeper is kind of like, I'm scared of what the numbers are going to show me, you know? And so it really was the social media angle that I took. And I was going like super heavy and hard. A lot of my peers were like, you're wasting your time. There are no returns in social media. It was really like trying to distract me from doing it. But I think I just went even harder because I wanted the beautypreneur to know that I was there for them, right? And it was still things that I was wanting to do to help them even during COVID. They wasn't making sales. I wasn't trying to make a sale, but it still was like EIDL they needed to know about, PPP loan they needed to know about, the forgiveness part, the reason why you're not ready to even get into these programs because you don't have a P&L. And they're like, what is even a P&L? Oh, it stands for this. And it was really like, I knew they didn't like numbers. I knew certain surface level things. But really getting to know them, I was able to really go deeper and get to know each and every one of them as a person, right? And literally, I did this for the whole 2020. Didn't make a sale. I think 2020, I think I might have made maybe 20K, maybe. And that was from like, just helping people get things ready for PPP and EIDL. But after 2020, when 2021 came, it was crazy. It was bananas. It was like, it was like I knew my core audience, but I realized how many lurkers I had because when 2021 came and the doors opened back up, those lurkers came out. They was like, I remember you from all of those months last year. And so even though I didn't make a ton of money, it was still very helpful getting a genuine, authentic connection with that industry and those folks on Instagram. I won't lie and say that having a job at the same time also helped because it was like I'm not making a sale, but I still got a job, so I'm still paying the mortgage. You know what I mean? I don't know. I hope that wouldn't have been different had I not had the job as a safety net. You know what I'm saying?
I completely understand. And again, I think there's a few things to unpack here for everyone that you should take this and implement this in your life. And what I mean by that is Kanisha was able to prioritize not the dollars, but the knowledge. she was able to prioritize the appreciation of what her clients were going through or prospective clients were going through, building those relationships, understanding their dynamics, their pain points, and that paid tremendous dividends. And if you think about the way that marketing and sales work at large, marketing is about really trying to build up pressure, or interest is a good way of thinking about it. And then eventually you're going to open up that pressure valve to now accept new clients, which is what happens when we get into 2021. They start to open back up. Everybody's flooding into the salons. And now once all this cash flow is coming in, right, they're going, what do I do with this? Oh, tax season's here, EDIL, right? All of these different things are happening. And who has been there for me this whole time? Even when we weren't making money, who was there for me this whole time? And this is the most underappreciated asset in all of marketing, and it's goodwill. And the only way to generate goodwill is to give without an ask. And that's what Kenesha did. She said, I'm going to give you, I'm going to help you, I'm going to go live, I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to support you. And I'm really not even going to necessarily worry about making an extra dollar. Yeah, 20 grand is still good. Part-time effort while holding a full-time job. Most people would be like, yeah, going crazy over that, right? Because that's still a great job, while simultaneously building up enough pressure to have a really incredible Q1. And so now we're going to shift gears just a little bit here. I think it's clear you've got a really good handle on social media. I'd love to maybe have a little bit of time for Q&A at the end to talk a bit more about the specifics for that, because I know people are probably like, what, how, like what in the world? How did you do this so fast? But let's talk more about, now we're starting to explore a bit more about our relationship. And now when 2021 rolls around, you're really officially a client of Dream Firms. But before we do that, I want you to talk about what your life was like before working with us. What were some of those emotions and experiences that indicated to you something's got to change here?
Yeah. So before Dream Firms, I was kind of like swaying with the wind. Like I said, my life was on Upwork. And with Upwork, I feel like, my personal opinion, that could be a platform where certain freelancers can be taken advantage of, right? So whatever price they was just throwing out to me not having any background knowledge of what I could be charging for certain things, I was just taking it because I wanted the client, I wanted the experience of working on their business, taxes, and bookkeeping. Again, I was working a full-time job, so I was kind of like doing these side things in these little pockets of times all over the place, right? I am just keeping like disorganized notes everywhere. I'm not really organized either, right? I'm just like going by the fly. And then it was kind of like, I remember having a moment where I was like, okay, if I know I want to do this, I know I want to do this seriously. My long-term huge goal is to maybe one day leave where I'm working full-time to do this full-time. No way I'm going to be able to do it like this. I'm not going to do it via Upwork. That just ain't going to happen. Okay. Because what they're paying me, I'm going to have to do 1 million of them to replace my income. Okay. And then at the same time, everything, I was meeting my goals and getting the work done, but it was very chaotically. It was very chaotically and stressfully. And I was like, no way am I going to meet that big goal, that big dream this way. This can't be the way, you know? So I was like, I know something's got to change. And believe it, or I'm sure you know this, but there's tons of business coaching programs out there, right? Like a ton of them. I knew for sure, I did not want one that didn't focus on our industry, right? That didn't focus on accounting firms. That just didn't make sense to me. No matter how many times people pitched to me, I was like, I would throw out a term specific to our industry and they wouldn't even know what I'm talking about. So it's like, how can you coach me on this? And you don't even know accounting firms, right? But even with the group of accounting firm coaches that are out there, and I'm lurking on all of them at this point. Like I'm really desperate to get serious and organized and trying to figure out a way to make this a reality for myself. I think what stood out about dream firms was just how down to earth and approachable the program was. It wasn't intimidating. It didn't ask of anything I didn't feel like I can attain realistically, if that makes sense. Because some of the other programs is just very aggressive, very intimidating. You gotta have $1 million to pour into ads and, and all that stuff. And then no knowledge even around how to do any of those things. But with Dream Firms, it was like a real community. And I was getting this for free. I wasn't even invested, nothing. And I was getting it for free from you. So I was like, I wonder if I invested, what's on the other side of that? So.
Okay, so it's a fantastic answer, and I think it's a very similar place for a lot of people, which is when you're relatively new to the entrepreneurial game, right? When we're talking, $20,000 in revenue, feeling like we need to go to Upwork to be able to win some contracts. There's a quote I heard recently that I like, which is we have to pay down our own ignorance tax. And that may be how we handle our clients. That may be how we quote, how we handle proposals, how we build our team, how we leverage Instagram, right? Like that's something that you had to pay down, how we study and understand our dream client. That's something I pay down every single day, right? Like that is just something that we will never escape. And so once we kind of hit a wall at the point where it's like, I know that there are other people who've already put together the knowledge, the wisdom, the path that I can follow, where I can make my life a lot easier. Cool, right? And then on top of that, who's unafraid to just be willing to share this so that they can help me now with where I am, where maybe I don't feel comfortable with the investment. I don't feel like I need to have not only the investment for a program, but now plus all this other money I got to pay to these ambiguous software companies where I don't really know what I'm getting or when I get it and all these other things. And then we shift over and we say, okay, like, let's take a deeper look at dream firms. And now let's fast forward just a tiny bit. So you've clearly seen our free content like everybody is right now. And now you say, I'm ready to make that investment. So just talk about what it was like getting started with us.
Yeah.
Because I think that can be an intimidating thing for a lot of people. It's like, yeah, what's behind the curtain, right? It's like,
yeah.
Where are the goods? And it's like, well, yeah, it's a service like yours are. There's a certain amount of trust that has to be placed so we can show you, but tell them kind of what it was like for you getting started in particular.
Yeah. So I think, well, the onboarding process, or just getting started, I'll be honest. I remember when I made the investment, I ain't gonna lie, I was like scared. But I was like, you know what? You gotta make this work now to get the return on the investment. But I remember right after was able to get started very, very quickly, which kind of like soothed me almost immediately to see like the program and the blueprint, right? To see like the path going forward, what the beginning is, all the steps in the middle, and then the end. And it was like, okay, if I just follow the yellow brick road, I'm gonna finally get to my destination. So that was very comforting for me because I've done other programs, and when you don't have a path going forward, it's very ambiguous. You're not very confident, and that affects how you move through the program if you don't even know where you're going. But what I really appreciated was, knowing exactly what the path was moving forward and everything that was required of me to move through the program, and it really did lead to my success. It really did. Just do the work.
I appreciate you saying that. I said this last week. I'll say it again. You bring the fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll make sure you have the frameworks. Make sure that energy is being channeled into the appropriate direction. So there's nothing worse than feeling like you're on the treadmill or that your goals are so far away and you're not sure how you're going to reach them. But I want to emphasize one thing for everyone that is listening to this, that experience that Kenesha had is a critical experience for everyone when you are in the sales environment. When you've got a prospective dream client, right? Kenesha to me. and she's ready to come on board, the speed to result, the ability to provide clarity on deliverables so that they don't start to wonder, was this a good investment, right? It quickly goes from fear and excitement are very close.
Yeah.
And it goes from fear to excitement very quickly, or it stays fear and then it starts to doubt and suspicion sets in. And so the quicker you can move them from sale to onboarding to result, the better off you're going to be. And there are small results that stack up, right? Even just how quickly are we going to get their books cleaned? How quickly are we going to be able to get tied into their QBO? How quickly are we going to be able to get them to their onboarding meeting in the next 24, 48, 72 hours? So just keep in mind that the principles that, you know, we deploy and find great success with are things that everyone should be looking to take and wrap into their business in some meaningful way.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I got the sense that you were entertaining some other programs, but ultimately didn't go with them. I know you talked about the AI CPA leadership one, and I think that that's a pretty good one. I've had other people reference that. I've never personally taken it, but I think that that mindset component is so important. Like, it's something you just need to constantly invest in because you're your own biggest doubter, your own biggest hater. And so you've got to just constantly have that positive reinforcement as well as the ways to think that just keep those thoughts at bay. But did you invest in really any other programs to help you grow before you started with us?
God, I did. I did.
Okay, I'm not here to shame anyone, but what was the difference, right? Like, what was the tangible difference between whatever it was that you purchased versus this?
The biggest difference was that the other program focused very heavily on marketing, right? And even a little bit on making the sale once you can get get the client on the phone. But Dream Firms addresses the whole firm, the entire firm. And I'm not at all saying I'm the expert at marketing and sales, but I felt like I was doing pretty good. I was doing pretty good with no ads and doing it on a part-time level. What I really needed was formal structure around what the entire firm is, meaning like, how am I staying organized with my internal firm processes? Do I even have internal firm processes? What are my goals? How do I evaluate my progress? What are benchmarks and KPIs and all this stuff? Like, I needed a program that addressed the entire firm, not just marketing and sell them. Because when you get the client and you bring them on, then what? It wasn't all about, just doing the work. It's the client experience from beginning to end. How do I stay sane as an entrepreneur and running my business? And how do I deal with it all, stay resilient? Because I still also have a full-time job. So, the other programs did not address the entire firm. It was all about, marketing. Everybody's a marketing expert now, which is important. I do agree that it's important, but that's like not even half the battle when it comes to, I'm learning when it comes to running an accounting firm. It's so much more than that.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. And you're right when you say it's not even half the battle. It's really only 1/5 of the battle, right? There's marketing, there's sales, there's fulfillment, there's operations, and there's finance. And when we really think of our businesses through these lens, the question is, well, yeah, Kenesha may be great at these two, and she definitely is. Can we provide more structure? Can we have better systems? Can we help with delegation and leverage so that she doesn't feel like she's the one that has to do every single piece of the social media so that it can expand and grow without requiring more of her time, especially while she's holding a full-time job? Sure. Can we make more attractive offers on the sales side that speak specifically to all the insights that she's gained from her clients, but didn't necessarily know how to structure those insights in a way that spoke back to them? And then on top of that, full-time job, you sell a client, you got to fulfill a client. And that quickly becomes I haven't had a call in the last couple of weeks where everyone was like, look, if you try and sell me on marketing and sales, I'm not interested. I'm like, that's not what we do. Like, we are very good at it, arguably the best, But really what we focus on is, to your point, the holistic approach to creating a dream firm that takes the owner from doer to director. Whether you're the doer in marketing, whether you're the doer in fulfillment, you've got to create, and then you've got to elevate up and out of that minutia. And you've been doing a fantastic job of that overall here, Kanisha.
I think through your program, you were the first one. Remember, we had a one-on-one discussion and we were talking about like all the things I do. You were the first one to be like, why are you doing that? Like, that was like the first time I had thought, like, I don't have to do everything. Like, I could hire folks and that's it. Like, you were the first one to say that to me. Out of all the people that I've talked to in the past, it was never, this is how you should be working on more crucial things than this, admin thing. Someone else should be doing that. You know what I mean? And it really did, like, when I internalized that concept, it really did give me back some really good hours.
Can't make more time. Everyone likes to say, when I find the time. So there is no finding time. As soon as you find some time, you let me know, right? Like, is that you have ascended to the almighty at this point? You're finding time. We're trading time. And that's an important question that we've got to just ask ourselves all the time is, why am I doing this? Right? Like, I'm the owner and I'm the leader of the firm. There are certain things that I should be doing, and there are certain things I should not be doing. And we have to just be very cognizant of those. And again, more importantly, not just be aware of them, but what are the concrete steps that other people have taken? What is the most efficient path that I can take, as opposed to trying to reinvent the wheel to try and solve this problem so I can just get to the end result significantly faster. So I want to just shift gears a tiny bit here, because the journey you've taken has been amazing. And there was one thing that you said that is like, it's on our website. It's super amazing. You're basically like, I made more in Q1 than I made in all of the previous year. And again, that to me is like kind of brain breaking for a lot of people, especially when you're saying like, yeah, I've got the big Instagram following, I've got my niche client to find, and you get involved with us and you do your full annual revenue in 1/4 of the year. Just talk a little bit about how that changed your life, your perspective, and how that really just gave you such certainty on what you were then later able to accomplish, which of course is winning the Dream Firm Award. So just walk us through that and what that really did to change your life.
No, absolutely. So I remember, like, before I got in Dream Firms, I remember making a post on, there are many entrepreneurial accountant Facebook groups. I remember making a post saying, hey guys, can you really make 6 figures on your own? I got so many people, so many comments to that question. Most were nice, some were nasty. But if for real, like, a lot of people were like, no, stay at your corporate job. No, you can't do it. You're gonna be stressed out. Your husband's gonna leave you. Your kid's gonna be mad. Like, it was not the positive response I was hoping for. And mind you, these are all people doing what I wanted to do, having this response to me, right? So I was like very discouraged, but like literally something within me, I think still having very positive people that was confident in our industry like you was still like, you totally can do it. Like, that's easy, okay? And so fast forward, when I got into the program, I was doing the work, I was still doing my social media very hard. And the first time I was like, I was consistently making 5-figure months. And I was just seeing that revenue just grow and grow and grow and surpassing my full-time salary. I was just like, wow, like, I'm not even doing this full-time. All I'm doing is what Tyler told me to do. And like, it's happening. I don't want to say like it was easy, because I feel like I don't want to like say it's not like hard work, because it is. You have to be committed and consistent. But when I was committed and consistent, it came easy. Like, it was like easy. Like, I don't know if that's like ununderstandable. Like, but it was just, when I did the work, it was consistent. That revenue came easy.
I think the difference that we're searching for here is simple versus easy. It's still, I am as painfully honest with everyone as I can be, is that building your dream firm is hard work. If you think that I have some magic bullet and when you pay me money, that all of a sudden it's just going to rain on you and you're just going to sit back and chill on the beach and collect checks, like, right? Like the whole reason I say only you can create your dream firm, right? It's like, it's still on you at the end of the day because it's your dream client, it's your work style, it's your life.
Yeah.
But we can simplify it. And I think when you stay focused on the basics and the things that truly work, it now feels like it's easy, right? Whereas before it felt like we're pushing this big boulder up the hill, right? We're paying down the ignorance tax. We're trying to learn all these things and it feels really hard. And then all of a sudden it switches and things become much clearer, simpler. The revenue starts coming in and we go, this feels easy now, but it still takes some hard work to get there. It is simple.
And I think when I say it was easy, I mean like following, like doing the work and following your framework, right? The hardest thing of all of this was my mindset. Like, is it possible? Can you do it? When I started to believe that, and mind you, it became easier to believe once I was doing the work through your program. Okay. So I'm doing the work through your program. I'm becoming more and more confident and believing that it's possible. And so I'm doing the work, following the program, and I'm just being very consistent, as consistent as I can be. Then I feel like because I had this path and I had community, I had your support and all the others, that's why it felt easy.
Well, I think that's a perfect way of again, phrasing this. And to me, it's the reason things feel so difficult is that the entrepreneurial journey is a lonely one, but it does not have to be a lonely one. When you are by yourself, because literally entrepreneurship is the idea that, hey, I can do this better on my own, right? If I'm in full control, I can deliver a better result. I can have more control of my time. That's fundamentally what it really comes down to, is like, I'm going to be a world beater. But it very quickly flips when you go, oh, wait a minute. I still need this mentality of world beating, but now I need to apply it to team building and making sure that I'm actually not alone, because it's scary when you're alone and you beat yourself up and it's harder than it has to be. And I think that's, again, one of the major things that we help people unlock is that hiring and training, people like to make it out like it's this like impossible riddle puzzle right now. I don't. Yeah. Is it hard? Sure. Is there a significantly better framework to operate within that allows you to get and retain talent? Of course, right? Like, people love to work for high performing individuals like Kenesha and like our clients, because they are literally dream firm leaders, right? Like, they're leading people, and that includes the team as well. So I've got a couple questions to get through. So I just want to jump to a few other ones here. So, what do you enjoy most about working with us? I asked this to basically everyone, and the answer feels like it's always the same. But what do you think? What do you think that is, Kenesha?
Well, I remember when I first got, I remember a hot seat we had, and I was like, I think that I need therapy because I was going through like some entrepreneur growing pains that like I'm still kind of going through right now. But you like you really did talk me off the ledge, like just listening to the challenges I was having, and then you having suggested solutions to those challenges that I can then go implement real time within my firm, right? So I firmly believe that my most enjoyable part of all of this is the coaching in the community, having someone that like knows your stuff, like you know your stuff. Like anytime I came to you with a problem, you wasn't like stumped, like I don't know. You like you like really did have some realistic, practical solutions to what I was going through. And that's rare. Usually like I said, I've dealt with other coaches and they have some like very broad, not general, not specific, unrealistic approach but you keep in mind my circumstance. You're always like, I know you're a wife, a mother, and you have a full-time job. So realistically, here is a possible solution to this challenge. And I just couldn't get that anywhere else.
I very much appreciate you saying that. And I think that this is people like to ask me what makes us different and from everyone else. And it's twofold. One, it is a holistic approach to the firm of creating the dream firm. But the second thing is you cannot have a holistic approach that does not take the owner's unique situation into account. It's impossible. So I take pride that we don't take cookie cutter approach. And when someone has a unique situation like Kenesha and like everybody listening to this does, you're not going to just be slammed into a box. Are there best principles? Are there best practices? Are there things that are routine that we need to be reminded of that are good habits and good practices? Of course. I mean, that's the reason I have my coach, is that sometimes we can't get outside of our own subjective experience. And then someone else has a chance to look at it. Why aren't we being more specific with this? What is the question we're really trying to ask here? And then all of a sudden, this clarity, right? And this is what a lot of proactive accountants, all my homies out there, this is what we always want to be able to do, is we want to be able to say, hey, I'm looking forward. I'm helping you to get more clarity. But what's fascinating about that value proposition is that if you yourself are not currently invested in being able to get your own clarity, it's so much harder to A, sell someone on that because you yourself are not buying it, and B, to actually do it, right? Like, you need to be able to have the experience to then translate it back to someone else. But community, again, it's that answer seems to come up yet again, because I think everyone hates the idea of being alone. And again, you don't have to be. So I have another question here, which is one that we've recently added because I love this question. Kenesha, what is your superpower?
Oh, my superpower. So my superpower is being able to take tax and accounting, which I know all of us think is simple, but other people find it very difficult to understand. I can take these concepts and break it down to even like a 5-year-old to understand. And my client, they really appreciate that. That's my top feedback from clients is, I love the way you take tax and accounting and you break it out and make it very approachable, not intimidating, and understandable that I can take it back and use it to better my business.
I'm going to need a demonstration of this superpower, because that is a superpower that I think everyone needs. You may not have the innate ability to be a storyteller, someone who can break down a really complex topic and make it simpler and easy to understand for someone who knows nothing about it, like a 5-year-old. But that to me is like, if we can even just get what's a good go-to when someone's really confused on something and you say, you know what, let me help break this down for you a little bit so that we never really need to have this conversation again. What's a good example, Kenesha?
You know what? Okay, so right now we're like the month of April, we have our Q1 financial meetings, right? And one of the things that my clients like they love and they never heard of before, but all of us, it's simple to us, the common size P&L, right? Where you take their P&L and then you put percentages over on the right so they know exactly where the revenue is going as they go down the list of expenses, okay? Number one, clients never seen that, never even heard of a common size P&L, never even thought to do that. But then when they see, like, for example, let's say for the Q, they made 30K. And then they're like, where did my money go? I don't feel like I made 30K, right? I say, okay, let's look at your common size P&L. And then I show them this 10% is going here, 12% is going here. Meals and entertainment, for whatever reason, is 25%. Why are you spending 25% on meals and entertainment? And they are like, oh my God, I never realized that much of my revenue was going to this one line item. That needs to change. I didn't mean for that to happen, right? That simple exercise, they're like, poof, mind blowing to them.
And again, sometimes what I realize is that we often take for granted, things that, again, come easy to us, that are standard to us. But it's so common that someone gets to the end of the month or the end of the quarter as an entrepreneur and they go, where's all the money, right? Like, what happened? And to not have that point of reflection and not be able to explain it to them. And they, right, like even just the idea of the percentages, it's such a simple thing that so few accounting firms take the time to do. But it takes a complex topic. It's like, yeah, I see all these numbers and it's like, oh, it's a percentage. Mm-hmm. Oh, that percentage is too high. And again, like it's just raising it from the subconscious to the conscious level where we now have this awareness. And now the entrepreneur can do something about it. Now they can listen to the advice Kenesha gives, because she says, well, look, I work with beautypreneurs just like you. 25% for meals and entertainment. You're really about, I'm being generous, you're twice as high as you should be, right? I'm being nice to you right now. Right? Like you gotta pull that way back. Yeah. So again, that's a great example. I appreciate you sharing us a little bit about your superpower. And so let's get into, and as always, I never apply any sort of what I'll just refer to as pressure on this question. Some people are uncomfortable with discussing it. Some people are happy to discuss it. We already know you won the Dream Firm Award, but if you're willing to share, how much have you added to your to your firm, and in what time frame?
Oh, I think that I remember breaking the 6-figure mark, and this is 2021. I broke that like August. By the time the year closed, I came in at 147, which is more than my full-time salary plus bonus. And so that like solidified. That was like, because I was always in my mind in search for this proof. Can we do? And mind you, I had met people that had done it, but I'm like, for me, can I do this? And I did it. Like I said, I broke the 6-figure mark like August of 2021, and then it just kept growing from there. And I was just ecstatic. Mind you, this is on a part-time basis. So in my mind, I'm like, I think I validated my whole idea of me being able to do this, going off on my own. It was, I think, it was so funny. I made a sale December 31st of 2021, and the woman paid in full, like literally. It was like the last hour. And I think like for New Year, we celebrated New Year's, and me and my husband like popped a bottle of champagne. And again, not even about the money, but it was just validation. Like, this is possible. If I stay committed, consistent, and just do the work realistically, given circumstance, like, real life circumstances, this is possible.
Humbling, to say the least. I mean, we went from 20 to, it sounded like 147 the following year. And again, it's like, if you think about even just the growth trajectory, we did more than that in Q1, but think about how much you had to have accelerated from Q1 to all the way up through Q4 to be able to have done that. That is, and again, like, we're talking full-time job, part-time effort, 15, 20, maybe 25 hours a week max to be able.
All from social media.
All from social media, like no paid ads. You know what I mean? Like it's hard. I think it's hard for people to think about that and go, wow, all of this growth, no magic bullet on Facebook ads, no fancy funnels really, right? Like no, just knowing the dream client, meeting the dream client where they are, and ultimately making offers to them that are compelling and that they are willing to buy. And then all of a sudden we know what happens. We get to 147. I hope the kids had one heck of a Christmas. I mean, that must have been the best Christmas ever.
Yeah.
Awesome. So look, we've only got a couple minutes left here, but what would you say to someone considering our services right now?
I would say, not to steal Nike slogan, but just do it. Just do it, because you need a yellow brick road. You need a path to follow. Okay. Like, this isn't something I feel like you can just do on your own. You need a path going forward. You need community, and you're going to need a coach to pull things out of you that even you don't see. Tyler did that for me. He saw things in me that I didn't initially see, but that he knew was capable just from us working together. And he really was able to, like I said, help me on that yellow brick road. So, and this is not just, I see a bunch of programs where like they just give you modules and good luck, right? Ain't nothing wrong with modules, but you need community and coaching, and that's what Dream Firms is. Don't make this harder on yourself by trying to do it alone without your yellow brick road. You need a path.
Perfectly said. Why do you consider this the best investment you've ever made in your business?
Because your coaching is like therapy for me, like for real. Like it's like entrepreneurial therapy. Like I went through things as an entrepreneur that I never went through before this journey. Like being an entrepreneur can play with your head when you're going through challenging times. You can start to doubt yourself if things are not working out the way you envisioned it to. It can feel very lonely because no one in your family or friends understand, because they're like hardcore 9-to-5ers. So this was by far the best investment because it was very therapeutic and keeping me sane and having me realize what's within me to be able to make these dreams happen.
Fantastic. And look, you've been big on community throughout this call and what it's been able to provide back to you. And so when I ask this question, I want you to really just keep in mind the quality of the people that we have surrounded you with as a part of being a part of Dream Firms. Who would you recommend the Create Your Dream Firm program to?
Oh, who would I recommend it to? I would recommend it to the person that they're scared, they're nervous, but something inside them is still telling them, this is possible, you need to do it, okay? And knowing that you just need, again, formal training and some framework on how to get from A to B. And that's what this program is. Like you're scared, you're always gonna be scared, right? But something within you won't let you forget this. Like it keeps popping up, no matter how much you keep pushing this, it keeps popping up. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it, but don't do it haphazardly. Like follow a program, get into a community, get the coaching, because again, you'll start to realize things within yourself you never have before.
Wow, that was powerful. I'll summarize this by saying, look, don't let the negative voice that says you can't overpower the gut feeling that you know you can, that other people can, just like Kenesha has, where you've gone through this journey. Your transformational journey will start the day you choose, the moment you choose. We've got some great things in the chat. I want to be very respectful of Kenesha's time. We've got 5 minutes. I'm going to drop a link in the chat for anyone that would like to book a call. Just to be clear, we don't do high pressure sales, guys. I know you are all so tired of dealing with organizations that think they're just going to like boss you around. Kenesha will tell you, anyone will tell you, I don't do that. I don't preach it. I don't practice it. I don't teach it. I just want to make sure you're a good fit. And if you're a good fit, it's an obvious decision for both of us. So let's go ahead and jump into the Q&A side of things from our wonderful participants. Lena says, awesome story, Kenesha. 100% Lena, absolutely amazing. Sam, so cool. I would never have thought of that niche. That's such a good idea. Congrats for sticking with it through the tough times. I've never been able to find a niche I liked. I should start with thinking about what I like every day in my life. Do you have any other tips? To be honest, what you like is important, but also reflecting on what you're excited about in the future. Right? Sometimes your past is not always going to give you exactly what you want, but you might say, you know what? I really love the technology of blockchain. I really love, I don't know, I can't fill in the gap there, but just reflect on what you are profoundly interested in, because then you will share interests, just like Kenesha does, with the beautypreneurs, and you have common ground, and it makes your client acquisition journey that much easier. Patrick, wow, you're an inspiring example of perseverance. Yes, she is. That is 100%. Mark says, what is the link to your Instagram profile? So at Beauty CPA, no the, right? You're at the Beauty CPA, of course, because there's only one. There's only one Beauty CPA, the Beauty CPA. Sam, I feel you. I have a really hard time knowing what to focus on. I would love to explore how you can help me be a bit more organized and focused, Tyler, in order to grow my practice. What's the best way to learn more into what you offer? Again, links floating around. I got a couple people dropping cell phone numbers. You'll have to book a call. I do not play phone tag. You've got to book a call. Someone's also asking for me to email them. Like email somewhat, but much better to have this same experience that I have with Kenesha. I'd love to see you, love to hear you, read your body language, and just make sure that we are on the same page with what you're looking to achieve and how we can best help you. I've got another question from Charles. Do you work with clients nationally or locally? I believe this is national for you, correct, Kenesha?
Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to confirm that, but we work nationally as well, just to be clear, Charles. And sounds like what I need. Send the link to book a call, please. It's going to be in the chat. Gregory, your program sounds interesting. Tyler, I like the idea of having a clear understanding of what needs to be done and in what order to build my practice. Please have your team call me. Gregory, please prioritize and protect both of our times. You're going to speak directly with me, brother. Okay. But you're only going to do that if you book a call. I don't have the time to make outbound dials and leave voicemails. I can't. I got to help people like Kenesha and hopefully help people like you as well. Olivia, I spend what is that, 4 or 5 Ys? I spend way too much time trying to market my firm, but I'm scared of hiring help. What do you recommend? So Olivia, there's an old saying I love is that there is no comfort in growth and there is no growth in comfort. When you are experiencing, again, that fear and excitement motion are very hard to decipher the difference from. It's normal that you're trying to figure out how to be able to get to that next level. But guess what? Yellow brick road makes it a lot easier. So my advice is, at the very least, explore a call with us. Once you explore the call, check out some of the YouTube videos. We have tons of free training out there, just like Kenesha was. If you're not fully ready to make that next level commitment, I get that. But at the same time, I think you owe it to yourself to explore it, because odds are that is the right move for you. Charisse, how do you balance your full-time work schedule, Upwork clients, and dream firm training? Great question. Lightning round answer, though. What do you got, Kenesha? How do you manage that?
Absolutely. I would say just with your available hours, you got to work on the things that move the needle. And that's what I learned from Tyler. It does not take a ton of work to get massive impact. You need to dial in on what really will move the needle and focus on that.
Perfectly said. Prioritize your time. Can't make time, can only trade it. Got to identify what that is. Sam booked a call for Tuesday. Looking forward to chatting with you on Tuesday. Sam, congratulations on taking that first step. Liam, wow, I haven't gotten one call through client social media yet. Very interested in your coaching, Tyler. When can I get started? Got slots as early as this Monday. If you're super serious, just reach out to me directly on social. Just ping me. I'll hop onto a call with you later on today if you are really, really serious about that. And congrats on the growth, Kenesha. Absolutely. Olivia, see you on Monday. I'll see you on Monday. Gregory, call book. Courtney, I'm dual niche with barbers and notaries. However, I have a difficulty closing barbers. What are your closing techniques? Check out the sales training, free on the YouTube channel. Honestly, like if you're like, I'm struggling with that, just check out the YouTube channel. There's like literally like 5 or 6 videos, all specifically on pricing, selling, packages, a whole list. Do you only train CPAs or people on their way to being a CPA? I like to be clear here. I am all about making sure that we are not your first client. We do help startups, but like you should be able to deliver the services. Like I'm not here to train you on debits and credits. I'm here to train you on to be a better entrepreneur and a better leader of your dream firm. If you really need true accounting training, you're better off with somebody else. If you say, hey, I know my stuff, we are for you, and you're ultimately looking to grow. And is there a recording of this conversation? There will be one on the YouTube channel very shortly hereafter. Kenesha, any final parting shots before we part ways here?
If I had to give anybody 3 things that help my success, I would say dream firms, niche down, and do not sleep on social media, and dream 100, okay?
Perfectly said. I absolutely love it. 3 tips to live by to help you to create your dream firm a little bit faster or significantly faster. Kenesha, it has been an absolute pleasure. I cannot thank you enough for being a dream client and being willing to share your story. For everyone else, Link is in the description. Thank you so much for your time, your most precious resource. And always remember that only you can create your dream firm, just like Kenesha, but we are here to help you, including Kenesha, every single step of the way. Have a fantastic rest of your workday, everyone. And I will hopefully see you on the inside very, very soon.